Good morning, and welcome to the CalPERS Community Property Webcast. Before we get to the main presentation, let's take care of some housekeeping items. To provide you with a future reference and make your note-taking easier, we've provided a learning guide for this presentation. You'll see the link to the learning guide in the YouTube description box. The video for this presentation will stay posted here on YouTube, so you can come back again and watch it if you need to. Please note that due to the large number of participants, we will not be able to respond to member questions during this presentation, even though the chat feature shows as active. Please contact us if you have specific questions. Our presentation today covers some basic information about how divorce may affect your CalPERS pension, the process to resolve an outstanding community property issue, the different model orders we accept to divide CalPERS benefits, and we'll end with some last thoughts and resources. First, let's explain what community property is. Community property is property owned jointly in marriage or registered domestic partnership. In California, all types of retirement benefits are considered community property. Your CalPERS account may be subject to a community property division upon a legal separation, divorce, or termination of domestic partnership. For CalPERS, the contributions you made, the service credit you accrued and/or purchased during your marriage or domestic partnership, and your retirement allowance are considered community property. Now that we've explained what community property is, let's discuss the CalPERS process. CalPERS is responsible for ensuring claims involving our members are resolved according to the Public Employees Retirement Law, or PERL. We also review court documents and administer qualified domestic relation orders, QDROs, usually pronounced quadros. We cannot offer legal advice or tell you what's best in your situation. We strongly encourage you to ask whoever is preparing your quadro to explain what it means for you and your former spouse before signing and filing with the court. There are 4 stages of the community property process. 1 is claim notification, 2 is account hold resolution, 3 is receive proposed quadro, 4 is receive filed quadro. And we're going to take a closer look at each of these stages. In stage 1, when we receive a claim against your CalPERS account, we'll place a hold on your account until the claim is resolved. If you're active or inactive, this means no refund, retirement, or death benefits will be paid until the claim is resolved. We strongly recommend resolving any community property claim as soon as possible to avoid any delays in receiving your retirement benefits when you submit your retirement application. If you're already retired, we're required by state law to withhold half of your retirement allowance, and no death benefits will be paid until the claim is resolved and the hold is removed. Your former spouse or domestic partner or their attorney can submit a letter requesting that we continue to pay your full benefit. If half your benefit is held and you were later awarded all of your CalPERS pension, you'll receive all your retroactive monies as soon as your claim is resolved and the hold is removed from your account. A judgment of dissolution is not enough to resolve any claim or remove a hold. No matter if you're inactive, active, or retired, death of either party does not resolve a community property claim. A claim can be submitted in one of 4 ways: a letter from your former spouse or domestic partner or their attorney. A summons joinder refers to the documents filed with the court that joins us as a party to the dissolution or legal separation. It allows us to provide information about your account to your former spouse or domestic partner and to their attorney. If we receive a court order showing your former spouse or domestic partner is awarded a community property interest in your account, a quadro will need to be prepared. A proposed quadro is a document that states the proposed division of the community property and has not been filed with the court. We like to review the draft proposed quadro language before it gets filed with the court to ensure the language is acceptable under the Public Employees Retirement Law. If the proposed language is acceptable, then the quadro needs to be filed with the court and then sent to CalPERS. Anyone can file a quadro. CalPERS doesn't always need to be notified when a legal separation, divorce, or termination of domestic partnership occurs. If we don't receive a community property claim and you and your former spouse or domestic partner reach an agreement where your CalPERS retirement account isn't affected, then you don't need to submit any documentation. Or if you and your former spouse or registered domestic partner agree to settle outside of CalPERS, then we don't need to be notified. Let's move on to Stage 2, resolving the hold on your account. If a claim was placed on your account and your marital settlement agreement awards you 100% of your CalPERS pension, send CalPERS the document for review. We'll notify the parties the claim has been resolved. If the settlement agreement doesn't mention CalPERS, we consider it an omitted asset and require a further court order to address what to do with the CalPERS account. To resolve a claim submitted by letter, we need a notarized letter from your former spouse or domestic partner or their attorney requesting to withdraw the claim as long as we weren't joined as a party by a summons joinder. In this case, it is possible for them to place a claim later. We will also accept an accepted filed quadro dividing your account or retirement benefit or a certified court order that states your account is your sole and separate property. If the claim was submitted by summons joinder and the dissolution of marriage, legal separation, or termination of domestic partnership is not final, or the parties decided not to move forward with it, we need a filed dismissal of summons joinder. Otherwise, we'll need an acceptable filed quadro dividing your account or retirement benefit, or a certified court order that states your account is your sole and separate property. We'll discuss a court order that divides your retirement account or benefit in just a minute, but if a claim was submitted by court order and your account or benefit is not being divided, then submit a copy of the marital settlement agreement or judgment showing you were awarded 100% of your CalPERS retirement. If the document doesn't specifically mention CalPERS, we consider it an omitted asset and will ask that you provide a further court order showing your account is your sole and separate property. We will also accept the community property release form. It can only be requested by your former spouse or domestic partner, and only if we have a court order on file that awards them a community property interest. A quadro tells us how to divide your pension and pay the benefits to your former spouse or domestic partner. It addresses death benefits, service credit purchases, and tells us who to pay the community property interest to if either you or your former spouse or partner predeceased each other. If your marital settlement agreement awards them an interest in your CalPERS pension and will be paying the benefit to them, then a quadro will need to be prepared. Stage 3 is the proposed quadro. We recommend submitting a proposed order for us to review so that we can ensure the language complies with the Public Employees Retirement Law. This review takes us about 60 days to do. If we just receive a filed order and it's unacceptable, you'll have to go back to the party who prepared the quadro, make the changes, and then refile it with the court. This can extend the time frame to resolve your claim and can be costly. If the proposed order is acceptable, we'll send a notification to all interested parties advising that the order is ready to be filed with the court. We'll need a filed order to complete the process. If the proposed order is unacceptable, we'll send notification to all interested parties advising what changes need to be made to make the order acceptable under our law. Occasionally, we are asked to sign the proposed order. We'll sign an approved order only after both parties have signed it. Lastly, in Stage 4, submit a filed quadro to CalPERS and review it to determine if it's acceptable to divide the benefits under the PERL. This review takes about 60 days. If it's found to be acceptable, we'll comply with the terms of the order based on the method of division. If it's unacceptable, we'll send written notification to all interested parties letting them know that the order must be changed and what changes are necessary. You should submit your court order, whether a proposed or filed order, as soon as possible. Not doing so can result in a delay in receiving any benefits due to you. Our retirement law provides 3 methods of dividing CalPERS retirement benefits through model orders. CalPERS can divide community property benefits using Model Order A, which is a separation of account, Model Order B, the time rule method, or Model Order C, which is also a division using the time rule method. Your quadro will tell us which method to use. Let's take a more detailed look at each. Model Order A is only available to active or inactive members. It removes 50% of the service credit and contributions and interest accrued during your marriage period and places them into a separate account for your former spouse or domestic partner. This is called a non-member account, and it's independent from yours. Once the non-member account has been established, your former spouse or domestic partner has a few options. They can leave their funds and service credit on file. They can withdraw their funds. If eligible, they can retire and receive a monthly lifetime benefit. In order for the non-member to retire, you must be eligible to retire on the date of your divorce, termination of domestic partnership, or legal separation, and both you and the non-member must have reached minimum service retirement age. They don't have to have 5 years of service credit in their non-member account in order to qualify. If your former spouse or registered domestic partner is eligible to draw a retirement under Model Order A, they can request an estimate of their future retirement benefit by submitting the non-member retirement allowance estimate request form. They can only submit this form after their non-member account has been established and when they're within 1 year of their anticipated retirement date. Lastly, they can only request 2 estimates within a 12-month period. Now let's move on to Model Order B. Model Order B is also only available to active or inactive members. It divides your account based on the time rule formula, or the order can specify a specific dollar amount or percentage to be paid. With Model Order B, your former spouse or registered domestic partner receives their community property interest when you refund, retire, or pass away. Usually, this model order requires you to choose a court-ordered community property option 4 when you retire. This provides a lifetime benefit to your former spouse and still allows you to select a retirement option and name a beneficiary for your remaining share. If you'd like more information about the retirement options available to you, read our publication Planning Your Service Retirement, which is publication number 1. The court order also needs to specify what happens if you pass away before your ex-spouse or domestic partner, and what happens if your former spouse or domestic partner passes away before you. The court order tells us if your former spouse's community property interest reverts back to you or if they are able to name a beneficiary for their interest. We need to know what happens with any pre- and post-retirement lump sum death benefits. Lastly, the court order must also specify if your former spouse or registered domestic partner is entitled to a cost of living adjustment after retirement. If you or your former spouse or domestic partner want to estimate a future retirement allowance under Model Order B, you or they can submit the Community Property Retirement Allowance Estimate Request Form. In order to request this type of estimate, we must have an acceptable filed Model Order B court order on file. You have to be within 3 years of your anticipated retirement date, and you're only allowed 2 estimates in one 12-month period. Last of the model orders is Model Order C. Model Order C is almost identical to Model Order B, but it's only available to retirees. Like Model Order B, it divides your account based on the time rule formula, or it can specify that a specific dollar amount or a specific percentage be paid. The community property benefit is paid from your current retirement allowance. If you named your former spouse or domestic partner as a beneficiary for a lifetime benefit when you retired, unless you were awarded 100% of your CalPERS retirement, you cannot remove them as your beneficiary and you cannot name a new beneficiary. The court order may also require you to keep them named for any payable death benefits. If you decide that you'd like to reinstate from retirement and return to active employment, then the community property benefit paid to your former spouse or domestic partner will stop. A new QDRO will need to be obtained when you re-retire. When you're retired, the QDRO must specify what happens if you pass away before your former spouse or domestic partner, what happens if your former spouse or domestic partner passes away before you do, what happens with all of your post-retirement lump sum death benefits, and if they are entitled to a cost of living adjustment. Let's finish up with a few last thoughts and available resources. We have a few last things that we want to make sure you're aware of and to remind you of. We strongly encourage you to resolve any community property claim as soon as possible, but you don't have to wait to apply for retirement until your claim is resolved. We want you to submit your application when you're ready to retire to secure your eligibility for certain retirement benefits. Remember, no benefits can be paid until the claim is resolved, so we want you to take care of things as soon as possible. Death doesn't resolve a community property claim. Your former spouse or registered domestic partner may be entitled to their share of any death benefits payable. If you're still working or are an inactive member, your yearly annual member statement will state that you have an outstanding community property claim on your account. Additionally, your MyCalPERS account will have a notification. Finally, we have additional resources and 2 publications that will help you navigate the CalPERS community property process. You can visit our Divorce and Your CalPERS Pension webpage and read facts about the community property claims process. Our Guide to CalPERS Community Property Publication 38A explains in more detail the methods and requirements for dividing your CalPERS benefits and includes calculation examples. Our CalPERS Model Domestic Relations Orders Publication 38B contains samples of Model Orders A, B, and C. Our presentation today was intended to provide you an introduction to community property. Please note that CalPERS is governed by the Public Employees Retirement Law. The information in this presentation is general. The retirement law is complex and subject to change. If there is a conflict between the law and the information presented in this presentation, any decision will be based on the law. Later today, you will receive an email with a short evaluation. Please answer all of the questions, as it's important for us to get your feedback to help us improve these presentations. Thank you for taking time out of your day to attend this presentation, and have a great day.